Welcome to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. Here, man, with the realest of the real today. You know, he popped up on me. This my big brother. Me and KP had the opportunity to meet each other in prison. He was one of those guys that was the big brother that you never had. We go to prison and we need that education. We need that mentoring. And he was that for me, you know, when I met him in prison. I remember one time we was in the weight pit and he was just talking about guys lifting weights and versus reading books, you know, and I wasn't reading enough books. I mean, my mind was everywhere else but where it needed to be. He was one of those ones that helped build me up to be who I am today. You know, so it's a pleasure and it's an honor today to be sitting with him doing this podcast and him coming in and helping this little brother, you know, with his brand and, you know, me being able to get his book, you know, $1,000, selling his books for $1,000. Puffy ain't doing it, Jay-Z ain't doing it, Barack Obama ain't doing it, but Mr. Keith Presley is. You know, he's selling his book for $1,000, you know. He's the black Scarface of Chicago. And he say he come from selling books of cane to books of game now for $1,000. So, Mr. Keith Presley, how you doing, man? Glad to see you, man. Glad to see you popped up on your little brother today, man. So, I just want to go into, man, just tell a little bit about who you are, man, and a little bit about your story and what you got going.
Well, you know, like I like to tell people, I'm semi-famous in 46 states and 4 commonwealths, and by the time I get through doing this podcast, I should be famous. So, long story short, story shorter, I'm a former drug kingpin that made a big transition and transformation in his life. And I went from the block to the boardroom, and I'm self-made, and I'm proving the point that the hustle is transferable by selling my story for $1,000 a pop. And I know anytime somebody spending $1,000 with me, they not buying a book for $1,000. They just supporting a real nigga, you know. So I'm trying to get real niggas on the board. Right now, suckers 1,000, real niggas 0. But I'm keep on pushing, and I'm gonna get us on the scoreboard. I promise you.
And one thing about it, man, he helped get me on the scoreboard. Man, needed some direction, and he was the guy that was able to come into my life and help give me that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always look up to him. I always respect what he's doing, and he's pushing the agenda for all real guys. You know. Fakery and, you know, so much ratting, snitching. There's a lot going on right now that's much different from his. If you look at the era that's going on now versus the era how you came up in, what just be your thoughts on it?
Well, I think it's kind of like different from when like my parents' era look at my era. So it's gonna always be a generation gap or some differences. So either you evolve or you die. So this is just the era that you're in. So just know if you're in the streets and you making moves, just know what you're up against. It's suckers 1,000, players 0. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So that's it. I mean, I don't put too much energy in it, man. And what I personally try to do is stay true to myself, and I try to be an example to others, because you never know who's watching or observing you, man. Like I haven't. The only place I've been and I wasn't recognized, I went to Maui, Hawaii, in I think August. I went last August, and nobody saw me because I went as a reclusive, you know, hotel, so nobody saw me. It's like everybody's coupled up, but generally where I go, somebody recognizes me from a podcast I did, or I'm the guy with the $1,000 book, and so on and so forth. So I'm always being watched by people that I don't even know that know me. So I try to be the example. I try to be the message that I bring, and most people are polar opposite of what they talk about. From my experience, you say one thing and you do another. So I just try to just be, try to stay thorough for the thorough people, man, and the people that's observing me.
And you from the Wild 100s?
Yeah,
Detroit, Chicago.
You already know it, man. Chi-Town in the building. South Side, 10 Trey, Wild 100s all day long.
How was it growing up in the Wild 100s, man?
Well, when I was growing up, it wasn't the Wild 100s yet. As I became a teenager, then it became the Wild 100s. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I came up very peaceful, very middle class, and as the city made a transition, the neighborhood made a transition. It's still a nice neighborhood, though. My parents still are from that area, and it's not. It's bad everywhere in Chicago because even the neighborhood I'm from, still be a little bit of foolishness going on. But that's just the nature of Chicago, man. It's a city of broad shoulders and a whole lot of foolishness and chicanery going on in these neighborhoods.
And when you came up, I know that you didn't get to hustling until you was 21. And the seizure that came down on you was an $18 million seizure, 150 keys of cocaine, $832,000 in cash money, several houses, properties, cars. So
let me correct you. That was $832,000 that they found that one time. Then they turned around and found another $2.7 million. So it's millions was on deck that they turned in. It was millions that they put in their pockets. So a lot of CPD, FBI, DEA agents are retiring off my drug proceeds.
Check that out. And when you got in the game, because I watch BMF and I watch how he, how his mom and dad they real dismissive towards him hustling, and he just continued with it, no matter what they thought. Like, how was your mom, man? When she first found out that you was hustling, because because I know you got a wrestling scholarship, went to college, so you was a pretty good kid, so when your mom found out that you was hustling, how did she kind of take it?
No, definitely the same way. I mean, I was not raised to be not only not a drug dealer, I was raised not to be a criminal. So to go from that to finding out that your son is in criminal activities, it definitely was a culture shock to her, and she definitely did everything in her power to try to sway me to not do wrong, and that's good. I had that example, and I had the polar opposite where I have one of my friends that when his son finished high school, he told me that you're gonna sell drugs or you got to get up out of here. Like basically, he didn't.
You gotta make some money.
Yeah, you gotta make some money, right?
One way or the other.
Yeah, exactly. Like my parents would have never told me that.
Like,
but his father was a hustler and a money getter, and he's just like, man, you gonna get you some money. You ain't gonna keep laying up on me.
Yeah, however you get it by hook or crook.
There you go. Real talk.
I know you did a lot of things for, but nothing could really compared to the time that you had got. Let's talk about her for a minute, man, and let's talk about when you got that, because you got 42 years in the Fed joint that you gave back. What was the first conversation you and your mom had after you got that 42?
I don't remember the exact conversation. I just know that I actually had to prepare a speech to be able to deliver the bad news to my parents because it was such a harsh sentence, to have your son taken away from you. I got in trouble when I was 34 years old, so how you going to give somebody 42 years and you 34 years old? And I wasn't bad. And I didn't turn criminal until 21.
Right.
So the time they're giving these people is outlandish and ridiculous, and you can't even warrant the foolishness that's attached to the time. When you sit back and do the math on it, I think right now it might cost anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 to keep a prisoner housed. Whereas the average person in jail is for some petty shit outside the murders, but just like drug crimes or just petty crimes. If you gave them a job making $50,000 and $70,000, they wouldn't even be committing the little petty crimes that they commit. and that ain't even making sense. It's that's why this a dirty game is I'm talking about. It stemmed from just being in the streets is dirty, but all this shit is dirty, man. The people you think is clean is dirty, and the people you think is dirty is not as dirty as you think you are.
How many have you ran into more dirty people in the corporate world or in the street world?
Well, I can't make that judgment right now. I just say that everybody have their own agenda. No matter what facade they have in front, everybody have their own agenda. And you know, first rule of Mother Nature, self-preservation. So most people are going to look out for themselves first.
You know, and you know, I know you go around and you do your podcast, and everybody, you know about your kingpin life, and I kind of like want to delve into it a little bit for my viewers, but I kind of want to delve off into a lot of other things, because I know you talk a lot about that, you know what I'm saying, on other podcasts, and I know you personally. Give them a little bit of give a synopsis.
It's not Baker versus Booker. I got back under Blakely and Booker.
Okay, Blakely and Booker.
Yeah, so I won my direct appeal, and I thank those two people profusely for you know, coming up with the argument that they had, and I was able to use it in my case. Also, my case, you can cite my case so people can go and use how I got back, and they can get back also. So I was sentenced to 30 years, 360 months in the federal penitentiary, and I was sentenced to 12 years in the state of Illinois, and they was ran wild, 42 years. I won my direct appeal, and I was sentenced to 10 years, from 30 years to 10 years. The judge agreed with my argument, and I went back and argued that the 12 years that I did in the state, that it was the same crime and the same drugs during the same time, and I was able to, I won that argument through administrative remedy, and they gave me credit for the time I done for that, and I went from out date of 2035 without good time. My good time would have been 2031 to coming home in 2007. So that's the clip note version of it. It's all official, like a ref with a whistle. Ain't no sealed indictments. Ain't no secret.
No proffers or what you say.
No debriefings. No statements. No looking at people behind tinted windows. No traveling in the backseat of a police car. None of that stuff.
And he in the law books.
Yeah,
he in the law books.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't like to investigate things, you know, but it's right there. You know what I'm saying? It's right there in the law books.
I take pride in the fact that, you know, I know I'm the last of a dying breed of stand-up guys. You know, people. And I for the real guys, they respect it, and other people they don't respect it because they like, man, you a fool. I want it, because they offered me 9 years to cooperate, and I told them people go play with a bomb because I don't move like that. No, I'm serious. It's in my paperwork. They was highly upset with me about that, and I'm not saying that to rub it in my face, rub it in their face. I'm just saying that you know. They even have to respect that, man, because most people fold like a lawn chair or a tent, and I didn't go.
And the feds wanted you to take them on a world tour.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted me to do a whole lot of stuff, but, you know, I wasn't for sale.
Exactly. You know, and I love the narrative that my big bro pushing, you know, because, you know, like he say, the real is looked at as fake, and the fake is looked at as real. Do you think that is because of the social media area that we stand in, you know? Because it's a lot of social media dimension now. Social media age, it seemed like, you know, that's where a lot of the fakeness began.
Yeah, well, we believe what we can see, and there's a lot of platforms to be seen now. And right now, basically, there's no gatekeepers for anything, so anybody can become what they want to become. So when I was coming up, like, you know, Chicago's a gang culture city. It was a time when you joined a gang, nigga, you had an initiation period. I don't think that exists anymore. People clicked up and so on and so forth. When you want to sell drugs, you just couldn't go on a block and sell drugs. You had to holler at the people that were selling drugs already before. So everything was somebody had to bring you in and vouch for you and so on and so forth. So that doesn't exist anymore. So what people do, they create their own narratives. So when you create your own narrative, I'm so and so, I'm this, I'm that, and then if you got enough hoopla, you got enough fanfare, you got enough money to promote it, got enough people to believe in and retweet it and so on and so forth, you could become something that you nowhere near you know you're not. So it's a different time and era now, and I'm not mad at the time and era it is. It's just that the wise can see through it. You know, the wise man can play the part of a fool, but the fool can't play the part of a wise man. So by me being who I am and been through what I've been through, I can instantly tell who's who and what's what. Not all the time, because even the wisest person can be deceived, tricked, or so on and so forth. But this is the era we're in. And so either, you know, real niggas adapt, fake niggas collapse. So if you don't understand that there's a lot of facades up here, a lot of phony people, a lot of smoke and mirrors, then that's on you. Because, you know, signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. So if you're cognitive of what's around you, then you can already navigate through it.
And what you say to the ones, Keith, should think that your story shouldn't be celebrated? You know, we got the Black Scarface of Chicago, you know, and I was listening at you on Beehive TV, and like they were saying, you know, but here it is, you got Scarface, the movie, and the merch and everything that lived over 30 years, people still buy it today. You got The Godfather, you got this, you know, The Irishman, and all these different mob figures being celebrated. But here's a black man that come out with his story that he was successful from, and people is dismissive to it. What you say about that?
Well, I'll say this. I'm not proud of the fact that I sold drugs, mainly in the black community. I'm not proud of that. What I'm most proud of is that when I was time to take the punishment that came along for the crime that I did, that I stood up. So that means I took responsibility for what I done. The other part that I'm proud of is the fact that I made a transformation in my life that's noteworthy of being celebrated. Those are the things I'm proud of. I'm not proud of the fact that I became that figure. You know, it's something that happened. But most of the people that have something to say about me are on the sidelines. See, I'm in the game. And see, the game I'm playing to win. And that's why I was successful in that game, because I was in the game. I wasn't on the sideline saying you ain't this, you ain't that, arguing with Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? You in the stands. You came to come see me. So the people that have something negative to say about me, they haven't played the game I played. They haven't seen the things I've seen. They haven't done the things I did. They haven't even dreamed the dreams that I've dreamt. And they haven't had an inkling of an ideal what it take to stand up under them people, man, when they come at you, because they come hard, they don't be playing at all. So if you don't respect the fact that I done what I did, which I'm not asking to, respect the fact that I am a man that stood tall amongst adversity.
Hella adversity too. And, you know, I always use you as an example when I tell people about pushing a story. You know, I always give them your Instagram, man. I give them your website, man. And I say, man, this is my big brother. This is what my big bro doing. You know what I'm saying? He 58 years old, man. He on the corner. He making commercials. He pushing his book. You know, like a lot of people, man, feel like their story isn't relevant enough to be heard. You know, and I try to push people and let everybody know. And you know, whatever you've been through, get out there and tell people. So what is your advice, man, to somebody out there, man, that has a story that they just want to get it out there to people?
Well,
and a little afraid.
I have many thoughts about that, but I'll just sum it up from this perspective. Everybody have a story to tell. So some people write books just to tell their story. I wrote a book to make money, and also to give an example of someone who came from up under the greatest adversity, some of the most trying times, and you know, like it's a blessing and a miracle. Like I use the term I'm 1 in a million, but I'm more like 1 in 10 million to come from up when I come from up under, and still be quote unquote successful. The average person that come up during my era, most of them are broke. You know, you got former drug kingpins, now they driving Uber. You know what I'm saying? And working these jobs, making $15 an hour and all that kind of stuff. I don't have that story. My story starts at $1 million and it goes from up there. I think in millions. So let me be your motivation if you don't have that innate propensity to be self-motivated or to be self-made. Just to say, hey, that's another black man. I'm 58 years old. I ain't around here. I haven't gave up on life because I believe in me and I believe in my dreams. So a lot of people have, when they get to this age and they haven't made it, they just look at their life and just seeing they haven't done anything or accomplished anything, or seeing like the world is pitted against them, then it's easy to tap out. So I tell the kids, and adults can benefit from this also, is you gotta stay self-motivated, man, and you just can't give up. You gotta keep on swinging. You're swinging enough pitches, you're bound to hit a few home runs. But the easiest thing in the world to do is give up and be a failure. And failure is not an option for me. I think I'm mad at 50 Cent that I ain't come up with that get rich or die trying. That's some cold shit. That fits me. That's the personification of me. It's in my DNA, man, to get it. And I stay on it like I want it. Real talk.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, man, I tell a lot of people, if you don't have a dream, if you don't have a purpose, get behind somebody that do. And I just want you to explain to people how sometimes you have to follow in order to learn how to lead, right? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in life.
Well, they say the best leaders is the best followers.
Exactly.
So,
and
yeah.
a lot of people, if they have dreams and don't know how to go about doing their dream and executing their dream. To have a dream like you living, man, to go around selling books for $1,000, man. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel good, but here's the thing about me selling $1,000 books. Do you understand the bravado and the confidence and the audacity that you have to put $1,000 price tag on a book? So with that
confidence
being said,
have to be
right. So with that being said, that's who I am. I have a bigger than life persona. So a lot of people don't have that persona, so they can't do that. They have to do is be true to themselves. So there's nothing wrong with selling a $20 book. There's nothing wrong with doing whatever you choose to be true to do. That's just for me. My motivation is to be an example of let my walk and my talk match. That's my motivation for those. I'm not out here to be like this person or that person specifically. This is just to be in totality, true blue. And that's rare. That's very rare these days for somebody to be true blue. And when you get ready to put the person up under the microscope, you can actually see that, man, this man walk and talk match, and his stories add up, his numbers add up. He's official like a rough with a whistle. There ain't no smoke and mirrors. So the things I try to do, man, I try to stay humble, even though I'm confident, and some people may say cocky. But I'm cocky because of my confidence, and my confidence is warranted because I have the track record and the pedigree to match the conversation that I'm disseminating.
Confidence, when you know something, you can speak it with confidence, But I wanted to ask you, was $1,000 always your price?
No, the $1,000 actually came later on. You was there when I wrote the book, so right. That's funny. I wrote the book,
and then I was there when he wrote the book. Listen, he wrote the book on what? On kite paper,
right? On the back of call outs.
On the back, call outs, itinerary. He wrote this book on back of call out, and I used to say, man, why you won't get a pad? I was trying to give him a pad so we could write. Listen, he write the back of call out. Look what has happened today. Yeah.
So I want to give you the story of how the book became $1,000. So initially I was going to sell a $100 version of the book. So I called one of my friends and I said, man, I'm thinking about selling my book for $100. He said, that's a good idea. I'll buy the first one. So I went to pick up the phone to call the second dude. And he said, man, I'm trying to sell this book for $100. What you think? Mm-hmm. He said, $100? He said, dude, you Keith Presley. You need to sell your book for $1,000. So I ran with that. And he said, not only did he say that, he said, you need to sell your book for this $1,000 and I'll buy the first one. And that kicked it off. So what I did was, instead of coming up with a $100 version of the book, the story is still the same, but I had to come with the aesthetics. This is gold leaf like the Bible. This is a hustler's Bible. It come with a case. This is rendering in 3D. The buildings is shining. The jewelry shining. Mm-hmm. It's a whole lot of other bells and whistles in this thing it's more than a
heavy too.
More than a book. Yeah, the content.
Oh my God.
it's a conversation piece. It's a piece of art, and it's a coffee table book, man. You know what I'm saying? Like my guy has my book in his house. My book is next to Chanel, Tom Ford, and Christian Dior. And when you put all four of those books beside me, my book make their book like a piece of shit. Now we know those people are billionaires, you know what I'm saying? But this is a street dude. This is a Chicago hustler that went from selling quarter bags on the block to selling $1,000 books. So that's why my movement is called from books of cane to books of game. Now I'm selling game. And this game that I'm selling you, man, you could benefit from it. That's just actual factual, because I'm too intelligent to put $1,000 price tag on something that's not worth $1,000. And it's a collectible book. I'm only selling 1,000 copies of this version. This is a collectible. I sign them. It comes with a certificate of authenticity. It comes with a glove, so you won't put your fingerprints on it and all that kind of stuff, man.
I get a glove. I get everything with my book, man.
You get everything, man. You get everything.
So how long? Because I remember you had said you had started writing it when you was in quarantine, man. How long did it take you to write your book?
I started writing in quarantine. I wrote about maybe 60 or 70 pages in quarantine on the back of call outs with a damn pencil. I think one of the little pens about that big.
You didn't have a pen. You had to write a pen.
Yeah, so then I set it down for maybe 4, 5, 6 months. And then one time I just said, hey, I'm gonna write this book in 30 days. So I came up with a concept to write 10 pages a day for 30 days. And that came up to be 300 pages. Plus the 70 pages I already had written. So it was kind of easy. I used to get up in the morning because jail is loud as hell, and everybody on dummy time. So I used to get up about 3 or 4 in the morning and write when everybody was asleep. And I think breakfast was maybe at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. By that time, you still can get a little bit more writing in. So it took me maybe a couple of months to write it. But then it took me about a year to perfect it, as far as with the getting it edited, the concept. I got some boss pictures in there. It took a long time to find the right person to make the book, because it's a custom book. It's not a regular book. It's a custom book. And just to get the marketing and the team together to put it all together, to make everything match, make the team match the concept match my conversation, and I'm happy with the product, man. I haven't met anyone yet that said, man, this is a piece of crap. This is, foolishness. I had one guy, and I hope he gets a chance to see this one time. He was, I don't read my comments really. Very few of them I do, but people usually tell me. But this one guy had the galls, the audacity, and the gumption to tell somebody, oh, that's dumb for him to sell a book for $1,000. He can only sell 15 copies. Well, I'm 354 books sold at this particular moment, young man, and I definitely will be reaching out to you when I reach the 1,000.
And tell them about the 50. You had 50,000 pre-sold.
Yeah, I actually pre-sold 100.
Oh,
I pre-sold 100 books before the book even was in my hand.
Before the book even touched, right?
I had 100 people that committed to buy the book from me, and that was part of the motivation too. And like I said, that was sight unseen. That's before they even seen it was like that. It was just to say, I'm supporting, like I said, the people that buy the book, they're not buying a book for $1,000. They're supporting a real nigga for $1,000. Then they just happen to get a book in return for it. So you got to support the real, because only a real gonna put another real one in play. A fake dude would never put a real dude in play. It would never happen on no day that ends with a Y. So you got to put the likes. You got to get with the likes of your own kind, and you got to put your own kind in play. So when you put a player in play, a player is going to reach back for another player, and that player can reach for some more players that he know that I might not know. So that's why we got to support the real. My credentials are intact. I'm not an informant. I'm not a secret informant. I don't have no secret indictments attached to my name. So I like the fact that no matter what you call me, you can't call me a rat. You know what I'm saying? So, and for those that decided to tell, that's on them. I mean, you take whatever, you want to keep it hidden, or or you might want to be like Apple and, broadcast that you did this, that, and the other. Whichever way you take, that's on you. All I could do, I could speak on the real. I'm the real from the standpoint that, hey, I ain't told on nobody, and it ain't gonna never happen. So that's that.
And I wanna take you back, man, to a book, that you gave me in prison. When I knew he was coming by for the interview, I talked to him a couple days ago. I pulled pulled the book out that he gave me in prison. I came home with this book. Do you remember this?
I do. I do remember giving you that book. Mm-hmm. And the irony of that is that's the first
The
book.
Road Less Traveled.
That's the first book I read in the penitentiary that somebody turned me on to. And that book was the beginning of me reading hundreds and hundreds of books because I was so blew out the water by it that I
Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck.
You know, I gave it to somebody that I know that can receive it because everybody not at the same place at the same time. You got to get somebody where they can receive it. So I knew you had the intellectual capacity and the innate propensity to learn some things, and it definitely was a book that changed my life, man. One of the best books I ever read, for real.
Mm-hmm. And I got another book down here, which was one of our...
That is absolutely the best book I ever read in my life.
Mine is The Master by James Allen.
So this is so crazy. When I read that book, it was so mind blowing. So it was so detail orientated that it motivated me to tell my stories. Where when a person get through reading, they be like, "Whoa!" So I guarantee you that you're gonna have a whole lot of whoa moments in there because I was motivated by Mine is the Master, and that's definitely one of the best books I've read in my life, man.
Okay, so this will be one of your all-time reference books.
Absolutely, to the day I die. They could put that in the casket with me. That's a cold piece of work there.
You have a quote. Telling the team is bigger than the hustle. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I think I said that on the Vlad episode. He was telling me to talk to the kids, and I was just saying the telling team is bigger than the hustle team. So, you know, you got a lot of people that say they hustlers, but when they get pinched, then they become a teller. So, I'm just telling guys that's in the streets, so hey, you know, if you in the streets, just expect to get told on. If you don't get told on, then that's, you know, you one in a million. But that's why I said the telling team is bigger than the hustle team, because there was a time when the hustle team, when you got caught or you got pinched, you just went down, laid down, and you did what you had to do. So right now, you know, people start telling before they get the handcuffs put on them. So that was the point of that statement.
How you get into international boxing?
So my business partner had got a contract with CBS Sports. And he reached out to me and asked me to be the face of the company because he know that I'm a boxing aficionado. I've been going to the major fights since like 80. I think my first major fight was 88. And it was Tyson versus Bruno, and it was at the Las Vegas Hilton. So I've been around boxing. I've been to many championship fights. So he knew I knew the sport. He knew I had a love for the sport. He knew I won a lot of money betting on the sport. And he asked me to be the face of the company, and we've thrown fights all over the world, and we're going to continue to throw fights all over the world. Bigger than life entertainment.
And I know you sat on the board of directors of a professional football team.
That is true. That's very true.
Let's talk about
Independent Pro Football League is a league for that's going to pay kids from 8 years old to 18. Then they have an 18-year-old league too to play professional football, and I happen to sit on the executive board of that. And I'm very proud of that because I went from the block to the boardroom. So I know that just my story alone is motivation for other people. Because if you don't see nobody that came from the streets or came from the penitentiary or basically a life sentence that's doing something positive, then you would never believe it's possible. So I am that guy that you can see. You can go online and Google Indie, INDIE Pro Football League. IndiePro.com and read up on it, and you can see me on the board of directors, and that's one of my proudest moments, man, to understand, to just be proud of it too, the part of something that's a pioneer, the is black owned from top to bottom, and it's going to be groundbreaking and earth shattering. Trust me. Any Pro Football League is going to be a household name. This dude is I don't even know how he came up with this vision, man. It's thank you, man. I appreciate this opportunity, and I will not squander it. And I'm gonna make not only the owner proud, I'm gonna make my family proud, my neighborhood proud, and anybody, man, that lay eyes on me, because I'm gonna be representing that to the fullest.
You know, we being felons, you know what I'm saying, coming from prison. A lot of people try to get us to exonerate our felonies, you know what I'm saying? Try to get us to, squash our felonies. And a lot of times we don't want to do that because that's who we are, that's who we come from. This is what we want people to always be able to revert back to. This is who we is. With you being on a professional football team and things of that nature, do you think it'll come a day where you'll exonerate your felonies?
For me, there's no benefit for me to exonerate my felonies, actually, because if it wasn't for my felonies, then I wouldn't have never wrote a book, and so on and so forth. But for some people, it's advantageous for them to do that because the way the system is set up, people with felons are ostracized from certain jobs and so on and so forth. Me personally, I never had to fill out no job applications. So it's different. So I'm self-made. If I don't have the job with the board, or on the board with the Indie Pro Football League, I'm selling $1,000 books. If I ain't selling $1,000 books, guess what? I'm throwing fights all over the world. And I didn't have to fill out a job application for the board, and I ain't had to fill out a job application to be a professional pro football league. So my background wasn't something that was hindering me from being a success. So either you take all those things out of the equation, I'm still going to be successful because I have the innate propensity to be successful, and other people might not have that. So they're looking for other people to put them on. You're going to a job, that means you're looking for somebody to hire you, to pay you to work for them. I never had that disposition. I've always knew how to go get me some money by hook or crook. So I did the crook part, now I'm doing the hook part. So and I'm proving that the hustle is transferable. So nothing happened to something that's sold. So I've already been in the sales business for many, many years. So I understand how to sell. I ain't doing nothing but selling myself. So with that being said, for those who feel like you need to get it, your record expunged, I would highly recommend that you do. And for people like me, me having my background, it actually helps me more than it hinders me, because I also had a job with a vendor's license with the Chicago Public School System, where I go and talk to at-risk kids or go to talk to the inner city kids, and my background actually helped me make money, because I'm steering them away from going to the penitentiary for the mere fact that I've been there. So a lot of times when you're talking to these kids about whatever you're talking about, if you ain't never did it before, they're not going to respect you. So once I show them that I've been in the penitentiary for 42 years and ABC, and give them some background on myself, then they respect it, and they can take it for what it's worth, and they can't say, hey, did nobody warn me, because some of the people are going to take it and run with it and veer away, and some people are going to take it and laugh and hee yuck yuck, and they're going to be sitting in jail and looking in the top of their cell like, damn, KP told me the A, B, and C. I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. It's not a hee yuck yuck giggle towards those guys. It's just, Jesus said, don't cast your pearl amongst the swine. So some people gonna get it and some people not. And hopefully more we get it than not. And then even if I just save one, you never underestimate the power of one, because that one person can take my message and give it to somebody else and say, just because I said it to them. And I'm proud of that. Thank you very much, Chicago Public School System. Thank you very much for Marshall High School. They was the first people to sought me out, and the rest is history, because I'm going to continue to build on that, man, for real.
So, man, because you done went from the drug world to the corporate world, man. We want you to give us some of your tips on success, man. How can we have that confidence? How can we have that wake up every day and get to it? How can we find that purpose we need in life, man, in order for us to, because like I say, don't nobody want to be in poverty. Don't nobody want to have a lack of finances, man. Just give us some of your tips, man, so that we can have a successful life.
Well, success is defined by the individual. I mean, what I define as success, somebody else may not define it as success. But, my success, I'll tell you how my success manifested. And if you could take some of this and put it in your life, then so be it. My success comes from me staying true to who I am and what I truly want to do, and not do what I don't want to do. So a lot of people say they don't want to do certain things, and then they go and turn around and do it. That I'm not that guy. So I would say, first of all, stay true to yourself. You definitely have to write some goals down. And everybody ain't meant to be an entrepreneur. Everybody ain't meant to be self-made. Some people are meant to be workers. Everybody can't be a boss. So if you're a worker, be a good worker. And be dependable, and definitely got to learn how to manage money, man. That's
because I wanted to talk to you about how important is it for individuals to be their own accountant. Because you done dealt with so much money, man. The Fed said that you was making $24 million per year. That's a lot of money to be dealing with, a lot of things to remember, a lot of books to be kept. You know what I'm saying? So, in this world, we have a lot of people that have talent and have this, have that, but nobody is putting out the balance sheet. Looking at what's coming in, what's going out, trying to put an asset up here in this corner. So how important, man, is it to be your own accountant? Because I know your accountant stole from you.
Yeah.
And I know it taught you a lot.
Yeah. One of my accountants did steal from me, and my current accountant hasn't stolen a dime from me. So, but the point being is everybody can't be an accountant. I took 3 years of accounting in college, and it's a very hard.
I ain't saying like a certified.
No. I'm
Go
gonna break it down like a double-barrel shotgun, man. So most people are employees. So most of the accountants already did for you because the government get paid before you get paid. So it's just a matter of learning how to manage your money. So a lot of times we, as black people or people that that's not rich, we have a tendency to try to want to look rich and so on and so forth. So we mismanage our money, and we spend more than we need to or should be spending, and therefore we ended up in destitute. So my suggestion to people is, man, how to learn how to live on less. And I have 2 examples. I'm not going to use their name, but they're going to know exactly who I'm talking to. One of my female that I used to date a long time ago, she just literally got $100,000 raise. Literally, $100,000 raise. And she was telling me, she's bragging about it. I said, well, I know who I'm dealing with. I said, you're going to be more broke than you now that you got $100,000 raise than the money you was living off of, because you was used to living off of that. I said, now that you got this $100,000 raise, you're going to spend like you made a $250,000 raise. And she literally said, damn, you're right. I'm looking at all the ways to spend this money instead of and just taking this $100,000 and just invest it or whatever. So I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm just giving examples of what we do. And because we don't have no one to teach us. So you don't become what you don't see. So when you're dealing with like a Jewish culture or something like that, they teach their kids from the beginning how to manage money and what's an asset and what's a liability and so forth. We don't have that in our household. And I went to college, and my parents went to college, and they didn't teach me that. But so right now today, I give my kids an allowance, and I make them submit what they spent their money on before I give them their next allowance. And I'm trying to teach them how to respect money.
If you want money in life, if you want to be rich, you got to be disciplined.
Yeah, I agree, but most people would never be rich, and most people are living from paycheck to paycheck, so they think it's not important to learn financial literacy, financial discipline, and how to invest. I mean, we don't know anything about investing because we wasn't raised and taught like that, and it's not the school system are failing us. Everything I really know about money, man, I really learned on my own, through just my own search to find the answers. So it comes a time where some people are going to get it and some people are not. Some people they okay living from paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to become rich. It really is. But what you can become more wiser with how you spend your money. You got to be trading. I highly recommend this book called Your Money or Your Life, and it breaks down, life energy versus the money that you bring in, and it tells you how, like, let's just say you're making $15 an hour. Well, if you making $15 an hour and you work an hour away from where you at Saginaw right now, you got to incorporate that it's going to take you an hour to get to work and an hour to get back. So you're really working 10 hours a day. So you got to divide that money up. Then you got to take the taxes out and so on. So you got to understand you got to understand money, and you got to respect money. You got to value money, and what's more important than money is your time. So you got to understand how you spending your time to get this money, and then you're gonna take it and jag it off on some foolishness. Then I mean, that's on you. If that's what you want to do with your money, so be it.
Mm-hmm. And you know, at the end of the day, the theme of my podcast is we better together than separated. Give me some of your thoughts on that.
Well, you know, that's an old adage from the standpoint that, you know, one finger, you could break it. If you take 4 fingers, it's harder to break it. If you ball it up, it's harder. So we stick together. There's an advantage to that. And I take it a step further that, you know, you got to together, if you get together with the right people, that's even stronger. Because I read this book 30 years ago called From Good to Great. And the concept of it, you got to read too. That's the most important thing. You have to read. So I read this book, and it basically said that you got to get all the wrong people off the bus and get all the right people on the bus doing the right job. So with that being said, we could use an example like Tom Brady. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the world ever. But how do you think he would have feared being a wide receiver instead of a quarterback? So he had the right position.
Right.
If we had Shaq playing point guard instead of being in the paint, how would his career veer? Had him shooting threes. He can't even shoot free throws. So you got to get the right people doing the right job. So get with the right crowd. Get with the likes of your own kind. That's what I like to say, man. Get with the likes of your own kind. And never underestimate the power of one. So the best leader is the one that create the most leaders, not the one with the most followers. That's a jewel I just gave y'all. Use it.
And here on Yacht Life Chronicles, you know, we don't celebrate Black History 28 days out the month. We celebrate Black History all year long. Today, Keith Presley is creating his own Black History. Doing something that's never been done. A black man, ex-drug dealer, kingpin, you know, went to prison, gave his time back, came home, selling his book for $1,000. You know, and I ask you guys to support him for the ones that have the confidence that he has to have to go around and be able to do that. And that's why I say, you know, Black history is being created every day. So we want to get on his thoughts on what does Black history mean to you?
That's funny that you said that, because I remember maybe 15 years ago, I was having a little conversation with my auntie, and I had been through some things in my life, like some things. Matter of fact, I think I had got out of prison. And long story short, I was telling that my story is just like the people in the story, the people in the Bible story, because I said when they was living their life, they didn't know their story was going to be chronicled into the Bible. So I have a story where I feel like I'm Job, because I had everything taken away from me, and I had to wait on the mercy of God to come back around for me, and I got it back tenfold, and I'm still receiving the blessings of it. So people, please understand that you have power in your life. Please understand that you have value, and you have to harness that your potential and your value so other people respect you. Respect yourself, man. You can't respect nobody else if you don't respect yourself first. It starts here, and it starts in your heart, man. So as a people, man, we have been shortchanged, bamboozled, hoodwinked, ran amok, and so on and so forth. But I'm here to be an example for you guys to say, hey, man, a man could be a bum his whole life, and he can wake up the next day, dust himself off, and start on a new path to do something great, man. And that's what I'm here to be. I'm here to be that person, to be an example. Not to say I'm the greatest example of that. There's many people that came before me, many people that's more worthy than me to be this example. But God has laid it on my heart for some reason to be this example. And I know I'm charismatic enough and intellectual enough to get my message across to people where they can receive it. I can meet you where you at. I can talk to the lowest person in the street, and I can talk to a person that's sitting in the White House, and we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to get something from him, and he's going to get something from me. And I'm just saying that you guys have to bring something to the table. Put some meat on your brain, man. Use your head for more than a hat rack. we can. Oh my God, I gotta talk about this, man. This is for all my females that's watching this show, man. Please, all these old women, 30, 40, 50 years old, on TikTok twerking. I'm just saying, like, for real, like, I'm down there 60 years old. I ain't trying to see it. I mean, it's cool. What example are you setting for your daughter, your nieces, your neighbors, and so on and so forth? So, I'm just saying, like, find something else to do. If that's your skill set, maybe you can use it to do something else. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I usually keep my opinions to myself, but it's just becoming it's just the overabundance of it, man. It ain't a good look. It's not a good look because you're not taking that twerking and you're not monetizing it. You know, if you're monetizing it, then that's a different story. But 99.9% of the people that's on here twerking on TikTok, they're not.
They better get them OnlyFans and
monetize. I went out the other day and I had like a little 20-something-year-old lady, and she was going to work. Like, I mean, okay, she young, she enjoying life, but 40 years from now, you still trying to do that same move, back it up. Like, how hard is it to back it up? And
it ain't got old to you yet.
There you go. So I mean, that's just my 2 cents to them, man. And you know, the same thing for the men. If you got to find something else to do to talk about. I was in my mom's neighborhood, and these guys was having a conversation. Wow. If you could just put a curtain right there and just listen to the 2 guys talking, and these are 2 guys that's my age, you would have thought you was here listening to 2 17 and 18-year-olds talking. The conversation they having was, it was like the conversation of somebody that's in high school. They still talking about sex and like, you ain't raised no hell at 58 years old in the bedroom. You're not doing it. You're not doing, you know what I'm saying? You're not raising no hell.
I don't know. They got them honey packs now.
I mean, the honey packs in the Bible and all that stuff, but the point is that you cheating. You know what I'm saying? You're not.
You say that ain't keeping it real. You cheating.
You're cheating. I mean, it's okay. Like, there's no reason for nobody to do that, but change the conversation up. Let me just say this. This is one of the, since I'm just giving some little spill outs. I was in the garage shooting dice one time, and these guys came up behind me, and they was like 30-something years old. They was all saying, man, the new PlayStation out, the new PlayStation out. And I was shooting dice, and I turned around, I'm like, the PlayStation? I was like, dude, you excited about a PlayStation, and white folks is building space stations. So I'm talking about, I said this to him, and that was like 15, 20 years ago. A dude came up to me like 5 years ago he was a teenager, and he reminded me that I said that to the guys, and he said, man, that stuck with me. So be cognitive of what you say to somebody, man, because if I could have said something dumb, but I said something that really struck a chord with them. So I'm saying that to you guys, man, my 40, 50, 60-year-old guys, man. Come on, man. Change the conversation up, man. Give these kids something, man, they can build on, man. Not all this foolishness, man. This 1970 ass conversation that y'all having, 1980 conversation that's not going to work in this world. You having a dinosaur conversation, and this world is expanding. I think knowledge. Don't quote me on this, but I think knowledge doubles every 18 months. And you still talking about some 8-track tape ass conversation, you know what I'm saying? So come on up, man, get you.
And I call them basement talkers, man, because you and your mama basement talking about what you had, you know what I'm saying, instead of what you getting. You know what I'm saying? But like you don't have the feet, the same 2 hands, and the same mind to get what you had back in the day. You can't get it today.
I like the way your verbiage on that, man. I might have to incorporate that into some of my conversation. But yeah, it's a lot of guys, stuck in time, and that's one of the things that I'm happy that I'm not stuck. I really not, and I'm trying to, and I'm not the most affluent in these things, but I'm definitely playing catch up and trying to use the technology that they have, try to use not the what I used to, if I could have, would have, all that old stuff. I'm trying to like, this is what I'm doing now, and I think that's what separates me from the guys that came up during my time era. That a lot of those guys are still stuck, and I'm still evolving and elevating, and not to try to big up myself and down them. I'm just stating the actual factuals. That's what it is. All that, just the good old days, how it used to be. They still print money. You still can get you some. They print it so you can get you some. That's why they print money. They print it so you can go get it. They didn't stop printing in the 80s and 90s. They still printed every day. Matter of fact, they printed in abundance. There's way more now than it was back then. You just got to change your game up. You got to get your new road map or a new treasure trail map to get to the bag.
So before we get out of here, is it any, anybody came to you, man? Because everybody be talking about Big Meech and BMF and, the episodes they got going on. But I be saying, man, listen, somebody gonna pick my big bro story up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been approached several times about my story, but for me at this moment, I don't necessarily not want to be on television, but that's not my priority. I have some different priorities, and when the time is right and the offer is right, I can guarantee you that my story will be told, whether it's on the big screen, a TV series, or a docu-series or whatever. It will be told, and it will be told in the magnitude in which it needs to be told. But the focus point won't be on the things I did in the past. It'll be about the things I'm doing right now, and that's going to be the motivation to help other people get to doing something right now, instead of making it about what it used to be and how the good old days and so on and so forth, man. So I've had a lot of success in my life, and I promise you that I look forward to having even greater success. I think my greatest chapter, I know my greatest chapter in my life has not been written yet.
He's very successful. You could take a page out of his book, and you got to be instilled with that confidence. If you don't have that confidence, you don't have anything. You got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't have nothing. You can believe in everything in this world, but you got to believe in yourself. You could be a connoisseur of everything in this world, but you got to believe in yourself. Don't be a connoisseur in this world, being a consumer of everybody else's product, but not creating something of your own. KP is creating something of his own. He around here showing us that the hustle was transferable. He went from selling bricks of cocaine to selling books of game, for $1,000, and his lifestyle ain't never changed. So before we get out of here, man, you want to give him your social media platform and your last words, and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, man. Feel free to reach out to me at 844 SOOREAL. So real.
Hey, my man So Real, he got a telephone number. 844 So Real.
There you go. And also,
it ain't a fake number neither.
Follow me on Instagram. It's KP the Man 1000, and Facebook and all that the same. But I'm mostly on Instagram, KP the Man 1000. Oh, and go on my webpage, kptheman.com, and order this book, man. Support a real one, man, because we got to get on the scoreboard. We have to get on the scoreboard, and I accept the job. I accept the job.
He definitely fit for it.
I'm built for it.
He built for it.
I'm built for it, man. So definitely keep me in your prayers, man. Keep your eye on me and follow me on Instagram, and I definitely should be able to motivate you in some kind of capacity.
And you in the new Candy 2 movie.
Oh yeah, I'm in Candy 2. I'm on a movie also called On the Run. It comes out in September, and I have a couple more tricks up my sleeves. If you want to keep up with me, go on KP the Man 1000 on the IG page.
He on Vlad TV. He on Beehive TV. Man, he everywhere. He just keeping his feet moving. Instead of keeping them still, he keeping his feet moving. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what we got to do out there, is keep our feet moving. So, man, listen, we want to wish the best, man,
Well, I appreciate
to the Black Scarface.
And look here, I thank you for buying this book and supporting me. That means a lot to
I'm
me.
enjoy this.
If
Good
all
read
if
for
all
me.
the real just kick in, man, I could sell these books in one day, man. What's $1,000 to a player, man? You jag that off, man, for a bottle of champagne. You jag it off at the strip club. You pay $1,000 for your gym shoes. You pay $1,000. You go to a steakhouse in Florida. I think they got $1,000 steak down there, man. Come on, mess with your man. Get this little G to me. And it's satisfaction guaranteed on the book, and it's a collector's item, man. It's a collectible, and it's worth it.
There you have it. You know, and like I said, you know, KP's story is just a great story. You know, it's a story of adversity, but it's a story of triumph. It's a story of redemption. You know, to be out here doing what he doing, to wake up and you know, being able to keep pushing this brand nonstop and not being denied. So to every business owner, to every person writing a book out there, to every brand out there, just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You know, we sitting here right here with the OG. You know, I tried to get much game out of him as I could, y'all. You know, I'm sure we're going to do a part 2 later on down the line, you know. So I want to thank him for coming in today. Y'all support his book. It's a Dirty Game, Memoirs of a Hustler. You know, this is going to be a great read for me tonight. And I would like to thank you guys for joining in to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. Thank you guys for joining in.
Peace.